I've seen people, Jews, like religious Jews, who are talking about how, like some people saying that this sacrifice of the red heifer or whatever can't happen because it has to be performed by descendant of Harun, like a blood descendant of Harun. And they said that nobody's around anymore. There are no more direct descendants in the tribe of Levi to perform this thing. Yeah, there's other stipulations about the priest who was supposed to perform the ritual that also make it impossible. But conveniently, the Temple Institute have 9 guys who can do it. They have 9 pure priests.
This is in Israel?
They're the ones who are behind all this. The Temple Institute.
I see.
They're the ones who are behind all this. So it's a one-stop shop. They've got the Red Heifers. We've also got the rabbis. We've got the priests who can do it. We've got the instruments to do it. It's a one-stop shop. You don't need anything else.
So these heifers are flown in from Texas?
Yeah, but the thing is, these ones were flown in from Texas, but they've been at this for a long time. It's a scam. It's a total scam. They've been at it for a long time. They had a thing where about 10 years ago, they also had a big announcement about the red heifer that we're going to try to, because I guess in Israel at least at that time, I don't know about now, but at that time, apparently now not, because they're I guess made an exception, but unless they made an exception. At that time, you weren't allowed to import cows.
Okay.
Because they were afraid of like mad cow disease or whatever. So they were importing the frozen embryos of Red Angus cattle and then wanting to raise it in Israel. All of this is money. All of this is you go to Christian Zionists and say, we need this red heifer. These are the things we got to move these frozen embryos. That's costly. We have to buy the embryos. That's costly. We have to store them. That's costly. We have to raise them. We have to go through all of that process. That's all costly. You need to give us money because this is the only way that you guys can bring your Messiah back to kill us.
So the frozen embryos were brought to Israel?
Yeah, and it was not a success. It wasn't a success. Nothing happened. And I think there was another announcement, like I don't know, maybe a couple of years later, where they said, like we have some successful red calves, and then that also went awry, didn't work out. And in the meantime, we're just building, we're constructing the various instruments that will be used in the ritual according to, whatever you call it, rabbinical, Talmudic or whatever, instructions from the Torah or whatever that, because they're very precise in their requirements. They're very meticulous and detailed in exactly what the dimensions have to be and what the conditions have to be, and that whatever this instrument for slaughter can never have been in a shadow or something. They come up with all kind of impossible rules, and so this is their other shtick, the Temple Institute. This is their other scam, making the things, and then putting them on display at their little center in Jerusalem, so that Christians can come and look at it, tourists. There's nobody in Israel. I think the majority of Israelis don't even know that this organization exists. They're not aware of any of this. Have any idea what these people are talking about? Nobody cares about the Red Heifers. People are worried about enough people believe in this that it can be dangerous. But it's not like we're saying we believe in it, but there are people who do believe in it, and therefore it could.
Because they have the will to make it materialize.
Right. That same group of people, the thing I just read, that same group of people who are the group of people within Israel who are likely to be the ones who would believe in this, just got their funding cut. just got their subsidies cut, and they're told you got to pick up a gun and join the army. You don't get to not be in the army like everybody else. You got to be in the army, son. So they don't have the power you think they have, and they're a very small group of people. And even among the so-called ultra-orthodox, like the ultra-orthodox people are the ones who got their subsidies cut. Only from that group will you find people who are even slightly interested in the Red Heifer issue. When you get into actually religious Jews with regards to the Red Heifer issue, it will be just like, it will be just like with us. On any given religious issue, there's disagreements. Not everybody even agrees on how, just like that thing that you were just reading. This rabbi saying that it doesn't matter who performs the sacrifice. No, others say no, it has to be a direct descendant of Nabi Harun. And then and then there, like I said, then there's requirements about that guy, whoever the one who performs the thing has to be pure and whatnot, and he has to be, they have their
over the top.
Yeah, like he can never have been touched or have touched anything dead, which is like, how did you eat then? I say, you know what I mean? Like how do you? Yeah, okay, with a fork, but I mean, it does not touch your lips and your mouth. You know, like you make up these impossible rules. So I don't know how he's not. Unless it's by dead they mean literally human being. I don't know, but I mean it's not really. See, this is what I mean. There's all kind of areas for ikhtilaf and debate and confusion and stuff. And the Temple Institute bloody knows that. That's why it's all a scam. They have no interest in building a temple because then their funding is over. Once you build the temple, how do you raise money to build the temple once you build it? How do you raise money for all of the steps that you need to go through that only a tiny percentage of Jews believe in or care about? And the only people who can fund you in this madness are the Christians.
Okay, so
why would you have to go to the Christians if there was really a large number of Jews who care about this at all?
So in other words, you go through all the charade, and then you come to a point where you have to appoint the guy to do it.
Something will go wrong.
Yeah, something goes wrong, and then the cycle begins.
The cycle will begin again. Yeah. Oh, we found a black hair on the Red Heifer.
What a golden...
Shucks.
What a golden goose.
We were so close.
Golden egg.
Yeah, we were so close.
That's the phrase, right? Golden egg.
I don't know what phrase you're trying to get at. There's the goose that laid the golden egg.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Turned out to be a regular goose. We're going to start importing goose embryos, and we hope that one of them will be, when it grows, will lay the golden egg. They had gotten some embryos. This is funny also. They had gotten some embryos. They successfully had some red cows, but unfortunately they were bulls.
Were they now?
Yeah, so it was wrong. They didn't check the embryos carefully enough. I'm guessing nobody got a refund. But like 5 years ago, they raised over $100,000, $120,000, something like that. No, sorry, 10 years ago. 10 years ago, they raised about $100,000 for this scam.
So these are Looney Tunes white supremacist Americans.
Yeah, basically. You know, who believe all of this stuff.
Sure.
You know, who really believe all of this stuff, which is just like really shows you like a fool and his money. Because I saw one person online talking about, I donated to them, and was saying, nothing's happened so far. This was a few years back, and they were like, I donated to them, and I was like, why would you say that in public? Why would you admit that in public? Now every scammer is going to email you because you're an easy target. Everybody knows you're a moron. It's a total scam. And the thing is, like I said, I know people, Muslims like to talk about it because those are the only people who are talking about it, is Muslims and Christians. This is not something that is even being covered really in the Israeli press at all, which is where you think that it would be the only thing in the headlines, right? According to what you think is going on in Israel and the mind of Israelis. I don't think most Israelis want to build a third temple. I don't think most of them are interested in that. I don't think, obviously we already know most of them aren't religious. The Muslims who are talking about it aren't interested in the Red Heifers, and it's not like they believe in the so-called prophecy or the so-called whatever, but their concern is that there are people who do believe it, and they could actually facilitate the destruction of Masjid al-Aqsa and so on. And I've seen, and this is, but you see, this is where it really is like dangerous, where we can be dangerous in this regard. It's actually because it's a scam. Okay, you should understand from the beginning, this is a complete and total scam. It's just a con job that if you do a little bit of research, you will see they keep running the same scam year after year to get money from Christians. You know, definitely they have millions of dollars in the bank that they've scammed off of these last day believing Christians who want to bring Armageddon for Jesus and so on. They've scammed them out of millions of dollars, and they have no interest in ending that scam. It's a successful operation that will continue. Why, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. In this case, fixing it would mean sacrificing the heifers and building the temple. That would be, you would be trying to fix what's not broken, because your system works. You're scamming these people, and you can keep scamming them generation after generation. Because this institute has been around since like 1987. They've been doing this for a long time.
They've been hanging on to the hope.
Yeah, and because they play off of not just, I mean, the whole Christian Zionism is based on Christian ignorance about Judaism. Their ignorance about the scripture, their stupidity that secular Jews can tell them what the Torah says. You know, Jews probably can't even read Hebrew. We'll tell them what the Torah says and why Israel should be blah blah blah, and why the temple and why the heifers and haha, and they'll believe all of this stuff because I'm sorry, balling, and they have no idea what they're doing. They don't have any idea. They don't even know what their own book says. They don't even know what's in the Gospels, for goodness sakes. They just know whatever the preacher happens to say on Sunday. You need to know that it's a scam from the beginning so that you don't react to it. So that you don't react to it. You're worried about the Jews reacting to it. Believe me, they won't. They don't care. They don't care in the least. They don't even, probably most of the Israelis don't even know this thing is happening. This is not the headlines that they're looking at. But this Abu Ubaidah of Hamas has, Hamas, they listed that this was one of the reasons why they did what they did on October 7th, which is insane. That is absolutely insane. If that's true, and if it's not just PR on your part, which is very also possible, that it's just PR on your part, because, you know, we're also sometimes can be a little bit like those Zionist Christians, and that we don't even know anything either. And we don't know anything about the Jews really either. So we just think, oh, well, this is a real thing and it's really a danger, and so maybe we should
pray on our earnestness.
Yeah, and our earnestness and our love for Al-Aqsa and our concern for Al-Aqsa and so on. So this could just be on the part of Hamas a PR pitch for why they did October 7th, because they did face some criticism, and rightly so. They faced some criticism about the wisdom of what they did, and so they came out with this statement about one of the reasons why they did it was because of the Red Heifers. But if you mean that, then you're insane. I really hope that, and the problem is that given the nature of Hamas, given the nature of the leadership of Hamas and the political leadership of Hamas, I wouldn't put it past them. Because they're not the brightest bulbs.
Yeah, so this was expressed by Haniyeh, right?
No, Abu Ubaidah, who's I guess was a Qassam. But I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping, and my benefit of the doubt is that this is just PR. It's just a spin or a rationale that you're giving that will be acceptable to a certain demographic of Muslims who are concerned about Al-Aqsa and who don't know anything about the Jews and who don't really know anything about Israel.
Or the cyclical scam that's been going on.
Yeah, exactly. They're just the ongoing con game that the Temple Institute is playing.
It's a pattern.
It's exclusively interesting to Western Christians, and only now it's interesting to Muslims. But it's not a new thing. The Red Heifer game has been played for decades.
Yeah, if we spend some time understanding that this has been going on, then we would,
You should know and not react to it. Because if what happened on October 7th was actually motivated in any way whatsoever by the Red Heifer thing, that's shameful. That's disgraceful. Because at the end of that, you did not cause, but you know what I mean. You have some share in 30,000 deaths over the basis of you not understanding a con game that's being played by some Jews in Israel who are just doing what they do and scamming people for money. But then I saw someone talking about, I don't remember where this was now, I think it was on Twitter. Iran has weapons that could reach to where those cows are. So they should launch whatever missiles or something to destroy those cows before they can do it. Okay. Now, at the same time, you're saying that if they slaughter the cows, it could start World War III. What do you think that would do if you launch missiles into Jerusalem to kill cows? And you're pretending that that's to try to avert World War III? See, this is what I mean. If you don't understand what's going on, shut up. Don't talk. Don't get involved in discussion. If you're not willing to even do the minimal bit of work that it takes to understand a very straightforward scam, then I don't know how many people have gotten rich off of you. But that's fine. Let scammers get rich off of you, but you don't get to cause death and destruction because you're too stupid to understand what a scam is. And then you think that Muslims are supposed to react to that violently. That's insane. You're a hazard to yourself and others. You know? Obviously, Iran isn't going to do anything. Obviously, Lebanon isn't going to do anything. Nobody's going to do anything, including the Jews. Zero things are going to happen, except that they'll say, back to the drawing board. Give us more money. We need more money to continue. We'll get it right next time. You know? Because even it's not even worth. I mean, I've already talked about it, but it's not even worth talking about how irrelevant this is, how completely irrelevant this is, except the extent to which you make it relevant.
Yeah.
And the only people who are making it relevant is Muslims and Christians, a certain segment of Muslims. But that segment of Muslims who's very loud and panicky and hysterical online at all times, and who generally speaking get their news from Zionists. They get their news from Zionists and they react to Zionist news, so-called news, propaganda. That's all they do. They get their news and information from Zionists, and then they go ballistic instead of taking just a few minutes.
Yeah, the only time I allowed any attention to this is when there was a question posed to a rabbi based in Jerusalem. Muslim asked the question. He basically just
Dismissed it.
He dismissed it. Yeah. Basically, this has nothing to do with Judaism or their belief, and basically the whole thing is a fiasco.
I mean, the whole thing is definitely a fiasco, but it does have a basis in Jewish belief. That's a bit much. I think that particular rabbi himself is an outlier in the rabbinical community. I think he's probably would be regarded even as heretical among most rabbis. But yeah, this is one of those things where just like imagine the fiqh ikhtilaf, like disputes that we have between madahib over some contentious issue. Multiply that times about 100 when it comes to Jews, because like I said, their details will make your eyes blur. How many details they put into a thing, and then what the definitions of those details mean.
Red do they have to be?
Yeah. By red, do you mean auburn?
Crimson?
Yeah, and really, I mean, even like just realistically speaking, how feasible is it? How possible is it for there to be a cow or any animal where every hair on its body is exactly the same color? Like that there's not going to be a single white hair or a red hair or a yellow hair or a brown hair somewhere on the body of that cow. Obviously, it's impossible. So if you're I'm sure that this is an opinion. I'm sure that I don't know this, but I'm sure that this is an opinion among some rabbinical circles, probably. That the stipulation of what kind of a cow it has to be is basically saying this is never going to happen.
Right.
It's just another way of saying this is not a thing that is ever going to happen. It's basically like saying you have to sacrifice a flying pig. You have to sacrifice a unicorn, because this isn't a thing that is ever going to happen. You know, and then you have the requirements, as I said, about the priest himself who's supposed to do it. He's supposed to perform it, where he has to be from birth until the moment of the sacrifice. He has to lived under, some kind of an isolation chamber. Like this isn't a thing that can happen. And then there's disputes anyway among the Jews about the whole third temple issue, which is that many of them believe that the one who they believe is the Messiah is the one who will build it. Not that it has to be built in order for him to come. This is Christian thinking. This is again how Christians don't understand the Jews, that they're Judeo-Christian religion understanding. They don't have any of it. They don't have any understanding. That's because they're polar opposites. But so they believe, there are some who believe that their Messiah will be the one to build the temple. Then there are ones who believe that the temple will just appear like a miracle, because we're talking about the last times, last days, when extraordinary things are happening. So they believe that the temple will just pop up, fully formed and fully created, as a miracle. And then I don't know. It's like but this is what I mean. There is no agreement among them even about just like what you just said. That rabbi saying this has nothing to do with. Okay, this is a disagreement among you people. You can't agree even on what your so-called prophecy is, even on what your so-called rituals are, even on what your religion says. On something like this, you can't agree, and now, but then you get Muslims reacting to all of this nonsense.
Yeah, as if it's going to happen on schedule on the 10th of April.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, if you just do a little bit of research, you'll see that they've been running this scam for years. I saw a thing, subhanallah. I was reading an article. One of the Looney Tunes Jews who believes in the Red Heifer thing was saying, because it also has to be slaughtered at a location from which you can see where the temple would be if the temple were there. And this Jew was saying, I look across at the location of where the temple would be, at the site of where, because they bought land, the institute, of course, because you have to show the receipts. When you get your funding, you have to show them, hey, yeah, we're getting closer. We bought the land. We made the axe. We made the knife. We made the altar. See, we're using your money because we're preparing for your Messiah to come and slaughter us. We're on the job, boss. It's like a new version of the Schindler's List or something, so he was saying he was standing on that land, looking at where the sacrifice is supposed to be, blah blah blah, and looking across, and he says, what do I see? Two domes. The Dome of the Rock and the Dome of Al-Aqsa. And he said, I see two domes. And it made me think, those of us who want the temple want to take our milk from the source, and everyone else is just having a substitute. Everyone else who doesn't want that is just drinking a substitute milk. In other words, you're actually in your mind looking at the domes of the two masajid and thinking about breasts. You're comparing in your mind the domes of the dome on Al-Aqsa and the dome of the Rock to breasts that you want to breastfeed from.
Well,
that's your thinking. This is a religious, ultra-orthodox religious Jew. This is your thinking. See, these are strange people. Wallahi, these are strange people. This is why they can't even get their subsidies anymore. Because even the Israelis are like, you people, come on.
Well, I hope this rests the matter for a lot of people.
Well, again, we only got a few days. The issue will be resolved, I guess, by April 10th. So when they say that they're supposed to do it, then we'll be done with it until they come up, until they run the scam again.
They'll find a blue strand of hair.
Something will happen. Yeah. Something will happen. Maybe they'll find out that the priest who was going to do the slaughter was on Epstein Island. Turns out he was P. Diddy's rabbi. It's not going to work out. Sorry. Try again next time.